Welcome to Getting to Know Chronicle. I'm John Stoner, a member of the adoption engineering team at Google Cloud, and today we are going to build a single event rule using string matches. In previous videos, we have touched on the structure of the rule, operators, and variables, so this is an opportunity to put these pieces all together. For a single event rule, we need a minimum of 3 sections: meta, events, and condition. We need to identify the relevant fields in UDM to use in our rule logic, and then we need to add values in the form of strings against those fields. Because we are using strings, these values will be enclosed in double quotes. Because this is the first rule we are creating, we are going to use this as a simple example. Let's create a rule that would detect the use of who am I. To do this, we can click New in the top left corner of the rule editor. Chronicle presents us with a rule template that we can modify and use as we see fit. Let's start by naming our rule something meaningful, like who am I _process creation. From there, we can add as much or as little to our meta section as we'd like. If you take a look at the community rules in our GitHub repository, you will see a standard set of metadata that we use for our rules to ensure that it is as descriptive as possible. I'm going to paste in a set of fields and values that I feel describe this rule, but you can adjust this however you see fit. Our events section contains the fields and values that we can identify are events of interest. A good practice is to use the UDM search to identify events of interest using the tabular views, and then take those fields and values and use them in our YARA-L rule. In our case, we can see in our search that the metadata.events_type of process launch and our target.process_command_line of who am I are the values we need to detect this activity. In our rules, we need an event variable, so let's use something descriptive like $process. Keep in mind that because the field values are on separate lines, these two pieces of criteria are ANDed together, but you could place an AND between them as well if you wanted. Also remember that we have the no case modifier, and while it does not work with the enumerated fields like metadata.eventType, it is generally considered a best practice to use against fields like command line, particularly on Windows systems where upper, lower, and mixed case can be used to execute the same program. The last section we need is the condition section. In our rule, we need to ensure that we capture the event variables that are needed for this event to fire, or a threshold using the pound value. In this case, there isn't much to do here. We just need to include the event variable which we defined earlier as $process. With that, let's go ahead and test our rule and see if we get the detections we expected. Since we did, let's go ahead and save our rule. Remember, when you start building rules, the meta, events, and condition sections are always included. UDM search is often a good place to view events and their fields and value as you explore your data, and when building your criteria, use double quotes for string values. If you want to learn more about Chronicle, check out my blog series called New to Chronicle for more handy tips. We have a number of community YARA-L detections at our GitHub site and are continually adding more. And don't forget to engage the security community at googlecloudcommunity.com. Thanks.